about my camera that
Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. I have a friend on, Blue Lightning Bear. He's my prime student right now. He can ask questions, and so can anybody else by putting them in the chat room. If you have good questions, I'll bring you on. But please, people, important questions only. And this is not a comedy hour. I don't entertain people in a funny way. I mean, you might laugh about something, but I'm not a comedian. I'm not a storyteller. So with that, now this is going to be serious today, people. I've been involved with multiple things all my life. The two important things that I lived for was spiritual truth and UFO truth. And I experienced all of that at many different levels. So when I'm talking people, I'm not talking from somebody else's experience, what somebody else said. Everything you hear that I say is the truth from my experience, from my truth, from everything that I have accomplished, attained, and went through in my life, which is a lot. I don't know how many people can say they went through all the things I did. If they can, good for them. I'm sure it helped them move along the way, the road pretty fast. So what I want to start with, the most simplest thing, whatever age you are, 20, 50, 80, 10, I don't think there's too many young children listening, but anybody out there, wherever you are in your life, are you happy? What are you doing to make yourself more happy if that's what you want out of life? Most people only care about happiness. They don't care about the reasoning behind why they're here, the reason why they're going through what they're going through. They're more satisfied going to a sports game, watching a movie, whatever it is, going on a ride, just to get it, jumping off a cliff, just to get a cheap thrill. But the first thing you really need to ask yourself, why are you on planet Earth? What really made you come here? Why did you come here? How did you come here? All those questions you should be thinking about, because they're all important, because you're going to leave. You'll be leaving this planet sooner or later. And the maximum time you will be here is 125 years. But if you live over 100, you're going to see everybody you know die. And I don't know too many people that really want to see that. In a relationship, you'll be in a relationship 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. But when you die, you're going to be leaving alone. All right? You're not going to be taking them with you, or your children, or anybody else. You came into this world by yourself, and you leave it by yourself. So the idea that the other word that I'm going to just talk about real fast is soulmates. That's a man-made, created idea. Soul is individual. I mean, and we're not all one soul either, the universal idea. One soul. We came down, one soul you'll leave as. But the things that will happen in this lifetime determine if you're going to reincarnate again or stay in the astral plane. I'll get into that part of it later, but let's deal with the first part. You have a job. Is it beneficial to you, and is it beneficial to life?
Right.
I mean, being a bartender, being all these things that really do not do anything good for society or people. Then the next thing is the words that people use. Oh, I'm spiritual. I ask everybody I meet, what does that mean to them? I never get a decent answer at all. Not one person could go into the details what spiritual means, other than their delusional ideas what they were programmed with. Now, as you go through life, you'll take on a bunch of religions. Or not. Some parents don't teach their children religion, and they keep them sheltered from that. But they also don't teach them anything about life. And it's not about drinking, doing drugs, partying, becoming famous, and making money. which is the only thing that's taught in schools. They don't teach you how to be in a relationship, how to survive, how to teach your children anything important. Schools don't teach you anything important. Companies don't teach anything important other than how they can make money. So you're in a society, you're on a planet, you don't know why you're here, you don't really know why you're doing what you're doing, but all you feel is you need to be happy. Happiness is part of the brain. Feelings, emotions, taste, smell, all that come from the brain. And most people don't understand the difference between soul and mind. I mean, different religions believe totally different things about it. The mind is what you run, that actually runs this body. It's just like the computer chip, the memory in your computer and the hard drive. It runs your computer, but it only runs on what it knows. I just got into a big story with a person talking about reincarnation or near death experiences. Very few people can even translate it when they have one. I had five. I learned many things during them, many more things than I would have probably learned any other way. But when people say, well, they met God, they met Jesus, they met their mother, they met their father, all right, these are the things that we're going to talk about first because you have to have a ground starting point when you start to create a path for you in life. You can call it religious, you can call it spiritual, but it's really the path to death because you're going to die. Nothing else, no other religion, anything you do, study, and work with is going to stop that from happening. So wouldn't it be preparing? Wouldn't it be good to prepare for that? Like to know what's going to happen when you die, where you're going to go, what you're going to do? Because otherwise, you're going to get to the point, and most people that don't have that awareness on their dying, that, oh, God, please help me, save me. And they have no clue what's going to happen. But in
Well,
the interim, you got the rest of your life, however long it is. And I'm telling you, time is very fragile right now. Mankind's destroying the planet, destroying everything that exists on the planet. And you people out there that claim to be spiritual and aware and six dimensional beings and all the other words have no clue what's happening.
mm,
Because most people think we're in the best space we have ever been in, which we are definitely not. And the space we're in is not going to last long. Everybody, I don't know if you noticed last night, the moon was in a different place. It wasn't in the same place it was the night before. That's a dramatic experience to learn, see, and go through and understand it. It means something moved the moon. All right, whether you want to realize that or not, scientists aren't talking about it. I don't know why. A friend of mine put all the pictures up where it was, how it looked, and everything else. It was a full moon. It was one of them, I don't know what they call it, pink moon or whatever. And the energy was incredible. But when I went into town, it affects everybody. We're affected by physical things and the universe in this reality. All right. We're affected by what people say, what we're taught, what we're programmed to believe. The problem with that is nobody is giving you beneficial or truthful information that can help you. I'm going to
well,
start with religions. What, you got a question?
yes, I would just like to add that before anything else, people should know about more about what they need than what they want because they don't distinguish these two apart. They believe that they need something which is not leading anywhere, but in reality, they need something to be on the right way. Just many of them are confused. They don't know which way to go, which way to turn, where to begin, and that's why they can never start. They have no chance of a good start in a right direction.
Thank you. Now, here's the thing. We're going to start with religion. Any religion you're in, why are you in it? What do you think you're going to get from it? Christianity, what do they believe? What do Muslims believe? What do the Hindus, Hasidic Jews believe? All right. They all have a conceived idea programmed by men what it is. How many of them have actual experiences? If they did, if you have a true experience pertaining to God or higher levels of awareness, you don't stay in a box with a program in it. All right. You don't lock yourself inside a little box and say, I know everything and now I'm in a box. No, you leave it. The same as you're going to leave this planet when you're an aware being and you don't need to come back into hell. All right, we'll get into that. But religions, anybody I talk to, why are you a Christian? Why are you a Protestant? Why are you a Catholic? Why is well, God loves me, He protects me, and it's always He protects them. Most people want protection. They want love when they're feeling bad, and they tell themselves that God has to love them, and all these little things that you program your children to believe as well. All right, does God love you? How do you know that? Well, I had a problem and it was solved. But what about all the other problems that go down? The same God that you're praying to and talking about isn't protecting you from that? Why? What would be your reasoning for that? Think about it.
Oh, I think God just deals with the soul, basically, not with the whole life here. The whole life here is just our basic choices how to get to Him, not how that He can work for us like a He's like a let's say making wish on a vendor machine. I wish for this and I want to get this and I want to be like this. This is all wrong because He only deals when you get to Him, but you need to find a way how to get to Him to start. Um,
Well, the first thing people have to realize how you describe God affects the way you think about it.
yes,
If you use a human's word like him or her or it, all right, it creates an image. Him creates a male image, female creates a female image. It is like anything. So it would be better to relate to it as anything than even in a male body, because most of them believe like it's looking down. Oh, he's bad. I'm going to save him. I'm going to do this. No, it's not like that. It's not even close to a human being at any level. The Bible has written many statements in there written by men. Moses himself wrote a lot of hogwash, a lot of stories. He didn't even like the Ten Commandments. He had to create what 163 commandments, and they're all dangerous, unuseful, not beneficial to a human, and nobody could live by them. So Moses was the highest black magician in our world, doing what he felt was right, and didn't even know why he was doing it. I'm not going to go into that whole story now, but Moses brought people around in circles until they died. And then the people that were born, he brought to a so-called promised land. He walked them into it. He couldn't get into it, and they had to kill everybody that was there. There's nothing spiritual about anything that happened. Now, the two things that are really important about the Bible and everything other than that, love did not exist until 2020 years ago. People, did you hear that? Love did not exist before that. Compassion was a word a lot of the so-called spiritual people used. All right. Uh, but that's a level of being friendly, kind, and all those words. It has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with the inner worlds. So when those words get created by man, they usually have no power, no meaning, and no truthfulness. So the first person to create the word spiritual, where was he? What was he thinking about? When the first religion was Hinduism, and they were working with so-called deities. So their teachings came from deities. And deities weren't talking about God. They were talking about themselves, always. Shiva,
yes,
Durga, Kali. It was about them, not about anything else. And mankind accepts the word powerful. Anything powerful is considered God. So if you became super powerful right now, the world would start recognizing you as a God, like they did to Jesus. All right, very few people have the abilities they talk about, bragging about, and saying they have.
but
If you have an ability, wait, if you have an ability, it has to be used wisely, which I don't think too many people or anybody on this planet can use them wisely. I went through that. There's 32 psychic abilities. All right. I went through about 30 of them. The two that I wanted, I couldn't do. But you'll learn good and bad through them. That you can't use any of them to make the world a better place. You might believe you can, but you really can't. All right. So when we get into that, we'll go into that a little more deeply because psychic abilities, people claim to be the top psychic, top healer, and all those words. But that's a programmed idea why they think they're here. If God wanted us all to be spiritual, we would be. All right.
Yeah, but
God doesn't make. Go ahead.
that was not the initial intent. The initial intent is to give people freedom, free will, and then see who is the right one to come back, who is the right one, deserving one to meet him again, who works the most, who works on himself and trains and basically learns about him through every lesson in the planet that you can get. But to think that one, just because of abilities, would be considered a god is really like a ant standing on top of its nest and thinking he owns the world. But in reality, it's just those half meter of stacked piles there. That I mean, it's just pathetic when someone thinks he's the supreme leader, god, or something like that to every human on the planet is ridiculous. God should be ever present through millions of planets at the same time. It's a dimension that a human can never perceive. It's just ridiculous sometimes.
Well, God has its own desires and wishes. It brought dinosaurs into the world. It brought the roach into the world. It brought a lot of things into reality. But they all work in a system. Everything works in a balanced state until man messes it up. Creatures that live in one spot don't need to go to another spot. Animals that live in one spot don't need to go to another spot. When man takes an environment and recreates it, they're destroying the balance that it was already in. Wherever man was, they had a perfect environment to live. All right. I mean, a man wasn't born in the middle of a snow pile or something like that. All right. When man was brought here, this world was incredible. So when we talk about psychic abilities and these people claiming it, the abilities to change what? Somebody's thinking? Nobody, the number one spiritual law for this reality is called the law of non interference. Nobody has the right to interfere in somebody else's space unless they're asked into it. And nobody does that. I mean, if somebody starts a fight, or goes up, shoots somebody, they're invading somebody's space. It's called instant karma. I mean, it creates so much karma, your soul will reincarnate over and over because of that. But people don't believe a lot of things because religion doesn't get into anything important. So, getting back to religions, when a person's being pushed into a religion by their parents, what are they learning? Nothing. They believe what they're being told, which is very little. And they have to sit there and believe that God's going to protect them, save them, and all that. So,
Religion is the purpose of religion is just to gain mass control over the people. Like they started this, let's say, in Italy to put the whole Europe of knights together in one batch, and then they can destroy many things down in Arabia. When 600 years later, Arabians came to think that if they want to survive, they need to invent their own religion. Otherwise, if those 250 tribes will not get together, they will never defeat Christians to go out of their lands. So religion basically missed the whole point of spirituality. They went into the power, they went into the gathering of people to make war. But spirituality is exactly the opposite of that. So they missed complete teachings of Jesus in the begin with. It's
well, here's the thing. When you're brought down here, God's intention is not accepted by most people. Not to love you, to protect you. That's why He gave you free will. You have the ability to create karma, to work it off, to be aware, which very few people will ever become, and to move forward in awareness so you don't have to stay here. This is the bottom of the barrel, people. I call it hell. It doesn't get worse than this for soul. And soul's main torture is coming back here again. Well, I want to come back. Well, if you want to come back, you don't want to know anything important. You're happy with the devices. I call them the five passions of the mind that keep soul here, keep them attached to here. I mean, it's good and bad if you want to look at it that way, but it's sex. I mean, it's like part of it. drugs, drinking, smoking, sports, all these things that keep a person's attention. All right. It's basically, uh, there's five different ones in the mind: lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. And those words are part of everything you do. And when you accept that over yourself, meaning, well, I'm going to be attached to my family, I'm going to be attached to doing this job, being famous, being making money, whatever it is, which is what happens. Money is the root to that. Everybody's here to make money. You're programmed to believe the only thing that matters is making money. But watch in the next 5 years, you're going to see the biggest change in reality that you know. Money is not going to help you unless you're a super rich person. Governments only care about rich people because they're the ones that they want to keep alive. So we're going to see incredible numbers of people dying. All right, incredible disasters. In the United States, they created underground cities, which nobody talks about. Nobody, president, vice president, Congress, nobody talks about it. Nobody brings it up. Nobody even wants to put it out there, let people even think about it. But it's real, people. One of the few people that exposed it many years ago was Jesse Ventura. And he did a show for 2 years exposing the truth, which people didn't know. And the government finally took him off the air because he was exposing too much stuff. But again, it's on TV. People don't believe it right away. Oh, it's made up. Oh, that's not real. And it's like the whole UFO world. Most people believe 90% of everything's fake. So
Yeah.
and then we have a big corporation, which I just wrote him a letter saying, well, anybody that sees a Bigfoot is delusional. I said, really? And they're saying that they're looking at a bear. All right. You know, I was a foot away from a Bigfoot. It was not a bear, people. So when science, medical departments will not admit to aliens, they will not admit to many things because the medical system is so perverted and it's only about creating medicines that you got to pay for to make companies money. It's not about healing. All right. Now, my best friend, good friend, I should say, passed away uh, 2 days ago. He was one of the top psychics in the United States. He discovered Area 51. He was one of the top speakers in the UFO world. And he was put through so much pain, suffering by the government. It's sad. I'm not going to go into his whole story. I might do a show for him
I,
later, well, not today, but soon.
I
But I
just,
need to work with him as a soul.
I
People,
just,
we got to respect. Go ahead.
I just want to express my condolences for you, for your friend publicly, and I'm so sorry that I never got to meet him because I missed many of the opportunities to learn from. Um, so yes, I think it would be nice to make a memorial show on that one.
Well, he
And
put out many books, all right, and he lectured all around the United States all the time.
that's
His
why
daily
that's why maybe it's smart to do one for him to
Well,
remember.
I'm still waiting to talk to his wife. She's not sure what she wants to do. She doesn't know how to create a crematory and all that. She doesn't know what's going on yet. Uh, so I'll see if she gets back to me today or tomorrow. But in the interim,
Mm. Let's
people that
hope.
people, no matter how good they seem, probably have a lot of karma building up on something that they're doing. If you hurt anybody, it becomes karma. You can't take a murderer and heal him and then think you did a good thing. When a lawyer takes on a person knowing they're guilty and then gets them off, they get karma for that. A lot of karma. People take jobs thinking they're helping or doing the right thing. No, most cops now, they could do the right thing and they don't. What's the story with that? Getting back to why God allowed soul to come here, giving soul a free will. But the free will was supposed to allow them to grow. When Jesus was here, he even said himself, there'll be many greater than he, and there hasn't been one since. All right. He was hoping. He gave his life, he did everything to help bring the truth about a God, one God, out, and he was killed for that even. People, you know, when we talk about religions, Uh, many religions don't believe in a real God. Some religions don't believe in a God at all. They believe in energy. Most people have to believe that because basically it's like everywhere. God is not. God does not allow itself to come into this lower realm for no reason. If it did, this world would blow up. The universe would explode. The energy of the whole universe of the physical reality is very low vibrating. I mean, the frequencies, there's thousands and thousands of frequencies, but they're all in a limited range of sound. So when we talk about the world that we're creating, what are we creating? People, you claim all these things. We're not peaceful. We can't become friendly with all these countries that are on this planet. How's that? What do you follow? Why do you really think you're here? Again, ask yourself that because we've got to move forward. If you want truth, which we're going to get into, is where to take your next step. And it's not on the physical planet. If you think getting another house, another car, another boat, having 10 more children is going to save you, it's not.
Where people are strange just in this one regard when they believe that God is here. As you said, it would explode if he was, but they believe it's here and he can hear them and he respond to them.
Well,
But
that's ignorance, but they do focus on Jesus. They focus on a man. Uh,
but they
they perceive it as that. So it's
yeah
not like they're even picturing what a real God would look like. Not
yeah
one person, not a minister, rabbi, preacher can even describe an aspect of what God looks like.
and
All
that
right.
thinking defeats the whole idea of ascension to God, to go up, up, up. Why would someone want to ascend if he was already here, right? So it defeats the whole purpose. I mean,
Well, ascension, the purpose of ascension is what Jesus did. Remember, Magdalene did it. Moses didn't do it, but he had a lot of psychic abilities. He didn't have all of them, and Jesus had them all and never used all of them. But when you get them, all right, like Moses did, he ended up killing more people than probably anybody else ever did during his time frame. Whatever he did to reverse a spell or whatever, it was always killing people. So many children were killed because of two people's ego. All right. Ego becomes a big play on this planet, which keeps people from moving forward as well. When you get programmed to believe that God, Jesus is protecting them, they think they're immune to anything, they can be forgiven for anything. In your own Bible, it tells you what can be forgiven and what can't. But very few souls even look and read Revelations. Very few religious people read the Bible. I mean, a sentence here and there. How many people read the Bible from cover to cover? Even once. I read it a few times because I had to
uh,
and I wanted to. But
people in these times they don't even know what the book is anymore. They are on their tablets, computers, phones. It's sad. It's downright terrible what they become. The books are the last thing on their mind in this busy world. So that's why the first reason these attachments and delusions is keeping them away from anything, from reading, studying. Yeah.
when we talk about people here, this is where you're going to take your stand. What do you want to attain before you die? And people, if you listen to this, get out a paper and pencil and write it down and write what you feel, what you think, what could happen, what you will create, and you'll realize nothing. Scientists do not create any positive things, really. We create the diseases that they're spending lifetimes trying to cure. There was diseases allowed to be here, and it's what helped people leave this world to go to the next world. But mankind created for every one that they cure or say they cure, they create three more major ones that are more dangerous. So we will never get ahead that way. And if people think, oh, we're going to get the cure for everything, uh, I can go into something contradictory to that, but not right now. But aliens have a different solution. Native people always had a different solution. All right. Curing a disease and just treating it is two separate words. On this planet, our people don't realize what's even going on with that. Nothing. You don't think in 100 years they could create a medicine that's not dangerous that can that could heal pain? To this day, more people that suffer with pain have no relief. There's no drug, no medicine, no anything out there that can cure them of it. So, and see, we have the ability to create, and that's one thing about being free. Mankind only creates toys. Now, if we could create good things, imagine that. But what I ask a person, well, in your mind, what would be a good thing? To eliminate all sickness? Well, it might be good in one way. And if you didn't die, you'd be stuck here forever, wouldn't you? And the only way you'd be able to leave if you got hit by a car or boat, sunk or whatever. So you don't want to stay here forever. You don't want to be completely immune to everything to live forever. But Musk, Gates, and all those people spending tons of money to create pills to live here for another 50 years or live as long as they can. And people would want to live here forever if they could because they have no clue where they're going to go when they leave this reality. And they're afraid to. If you're afraid to go somewhere, you don't go there. You stay in your little hole in the ground, which these people are doing. Uh, when I dealt with different religions, I went through 14. Each one of them has no idea of a real God. They have no idea of anything going on in heaven. They have no idea what it even looks like. So, why would you want to follow a path that has all blank zeros for the questions you want to ask and spend your whole life in it? To do what? Assume that you're going to go to heaven because you pray? Praying is another word that I don't like. I mean, religions pray, every religion does. Pray, 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 pray. But it doesn't change reality, it doesn't help people. And then when these people say, well, I'm spiritual, and I say, why? Because why send unconditional love to the world? Unconditional means it has no conditions, which means it doesn't do anything.
And it also means that you love the bad things as well that's happening here, right?
Well, the bad things that are happening, people wouldn't say they love them. Nobody loves to see their family die. Nobody
Yeah.
loves to see their car blow up. Nobody loves those things. All right. But when it comes to getting money, getting food, buying a new house, buying a new car, sure, they love that.
Of
It's all
course.
physical. But
Mm.
the concept of what they are, I don't know people that can talk about who and what they are as a soul. When you die, what is it? What do you actually see leave? What are you when you actually leave your body?
You know,
Now,
these people don't understand that if they would just see this once, I experienced out of body experience just once, and if they felt how good it is, how relieving of the all of the bodily troubles, I think everyone would be wanting a piece of that, but
well,
probably
see,
they don't.
the problem, God did create a boundary, a wall. That wall is called Satan, darkness, the dragon. Okay, it's the darkness. It's created to make people grow. It's like, well, you got to go to the corner, but there's this giant wall in front of you, and you got to break down that wall to get to the other side of it. But if you don't try, you never do. And Mr. Satan and his army feed you things that you think you want: fame, fortune, money, things like that, family, all the little things that you think are important. It keeps giving that to you. And that's its mission. God allows it to be here to do that. All right. If God wanted us to all unfold real fast, it would just take Satan away. And people would see what things are bad and what things are really bad and what things hurt and all that. But people don't see that when they allow their son to be persecuted, attacked, and all that, and then they defend the prejudice and things like that. We get into these little battles of ourselves, not reality, not what's happening to the planet. Uh, People say they care about the whole world. Who does? In my mind, I care about every single child being sexually abused, sold in body parts, all those things every day. It's not like, well, once a year I think about bad things. No, it's a part of reality. It's the truth, people. See,
Yes.
when people say, well, you live in the darkness, I live in the truth. I don't live in the lies. I don't put a make believe coat over everything. And, oh, that's okay. That's okay. This is okay. This is beautiful. No, it's not. Plants are
Uh,
beautiful. They're starving, they're dying, they're coming down with diseases.
I'm
Our
built.
food is toxic.
I'm built the very same way. When I'm into something, for example, I care about people that were lands were taking and everything bad happened to them, and it's keep on happening after 300, 500 years until now. Let's say American natives people, they've been wronged for so many years, and it still doesn't stop. But in my mind, also, it doesn't stop. Like one day I care, and the next day I forget about this. It's not right, and what's not right should be repaired. And it's just the worst thing that can happen to people is that they daily, because of what they do, their jobs, their money, concerns for survival, they keep on forgetting the important things. They keep on forgetting that so many people is suffering out there, and so many people are worse off than they are. But no one is willing to help. No one is willing to participate against oppression or something, and
Well, people
it's
and
concerning.
a big percentage of the planet have a religion. There's 8 billion people on the planet. I'd say at least 6 billion, almost 7 billion people have a religion. All right. That's 1 billion people without a religion. All right. So when we talk about movement, change, these people that follow a religion have guidelines to live by. And when you say reincarnation, people just run. When you say karma, people run. Oh no, I give my sins to Jesus. I do this. They believe everybody's being programmed at a high level. So they can't understand what's left and what they actually have to deal with. When your child dies, when their husband, wife, son, uncle, aunt, when they die and they're so close to them and all these things, yeah, they go through pain, suffering for 2 years, and then it happens again to somebody else, not realizing that's not where the importance is. When Jesus taught, he told his disciples to leave their families and their children. All right. And not too many did leave, did they? Uh, so the idea of understanding the truth is not easy to accept. And I tell people this, it's not written in the Bible, but Jesus said the most spiritual path will have the least followers. All right. And I
Yes,
found it to be true.
the right way is always very, very narrow and it goes up. But the wrong way is very wide and deep and it goes down for millions of souls to walk on. Uh,
See, the problem with this world, all these people claiming to be this, that, and the other thing. They're in the car, they're driving down the road says 45 miles an hour, and they're driving 45 miles an hour. Oh, this is too slow, so they speed up to 55. And they keep looking around, well, there's no cops around, I can do what I want. It's always overriding the law. When Moses made 613 laws, it's about eating, it's about living, it's about every aspect of life, nakedness and all that. He was wrong about everything. And he was programmed wrong. So his ego overpowered where he could have been. All right. He wanted to save the people that were in jail, in prison. But to bring them where? To another place? To do what? To kill more people? See, you know, you always have to follow through with what you feel is right in your life. Why am I here? What am I going to do until I leave? And then what am I going to leave the planet when I leave? You know, they always say walk a path but don't leave any footprints. Well, that's for people that don't have anything to leave. Yeah. But if you have something good to leave, make sure you leave it here. All right. Because when people wake up, they look for the truth somewhere. There's going to be very few places to find any of it. All right. Now, when you're on your search, you're going to go to religions like I did. At the same time, I was dealing with UFOs, aliens, and everything else. I became a I became a healer. Not a, I don't like to use the word healer. I was a hypnotist since the time I was 14. I created two things that I don't take credit for: past life regression and psychic implant removals. I was doing that because I was shown on the internet how to do it. All right. And one lady that died, really old lady, really famous, claimed she created certain things like past life regression. I just was doing it. I mean, when I started hypnotizing people, I said, how about I bring them back into their other lives and stuff? And I came up with the word past lives, all right? Which was when I made business cards. I was doing it in New Jersey, but I didn't do it for money. And I only did it for people, friends, and family. And most people didn't even want to do it in the first place. And
Yeah,
it came to a point.
they are scared. They are not interested to see in their past. They are scared to find something that will haunt them for the whole life right now. Or like they did something bad, they killed someone, they don't want to deal with this bad consciousness. That's why they keep on resisting, but they never repair karma again if they do like this.
Well, many people are starting to pull away from religion. I mean, a lot of more people are moving into Catholic religions and things like that, but many people are pulling out of it. It's a two-sided thing. People pulling out of it are going to the UFO world. They want good aliens to come here and save us and that. Saving. What is a person's definition of saving? We contaminated our food, we contaminated our water, we contaminated our land. They want aliens to come down and heal our planet of that. We are still doing it. If they healed it today, it would be contaminated tomorrow. Until
The
mankind accepts what it's doing, all right,
the
which
only,
is
the only way to save people is to begin with the individual. When individual starts doing right, and this happens on hundred thousands of people starting, just what is right, normal, basic things, then maybe
see,
there is a chance.
even that. See, nobody will accept the definition of right because there's very few people on this whole planet that understand the definition of love. Every one of them will give a separate definition of that. World peace is impossible, not on this planet. It was taken away from this planet a long time ago. So when people say, well, this, that, the other thing, they're only basing it on their knowledge. But they have an individual ego, and that ego keeps them programmed in what they were programmed to learn.
That's why
Powerful experience.
to save this planet and society is next to impossible. But what we try to do here is just to maybe enlighten a few individuals, let's say a couple of thousand, to start working on themselves how to escape from this.
Well,
Because
see,
it's like thinking
even
shit.
that's impossible because, we got too many spiritual, so-called spiritual people guiding people. The 5 top spiritual people on the planet.
Yeah, they are laughable.
Most people on the planet follow them. I mean, I'm going to say their names because you got to know who people respect as more above everybody else. Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, the Dalai Lama, the Pope, and then even Oprah squeezing into the top 5
Yeah.
here and there. But
Oprah
here's the thing.
is a
She made all them people. She didn't make the Lama and she didn't make the Pope, but she made Deepak Chopra and she made Eckhart Tolle. Super millionaires,
well,
billionaires.
they say that Oprah even farts towards any book she wants, and the book is bestseller just like overnight. So that they are bestsellers and they are like so great, it's no proof. I mean, they were made up. It's not.
I wanted to personally talk to Oprah, but I don't want to get into that because she said she has no karma, and she said, okay, she's spiritually aware and she has no karma. And then she says she has no ego. All right. People will never say to themselves, oh, I'm egotistical. I will. All right. Certain things I know more than that person will ever say. And I don't call it ego, I call it awareness. If you know things right and wrong, and you try to tell other people, they won't believe it and they don't care. But it's not ego, it's truth. People of truth were always killed, all through history. All right. No spiritual people that had the truth were ever alive for a long period of time, especially when they came out. That's why a lot of people don't come out. They live in their truth. When they're ready, they just leave.
Yes,
Because
that is the best option. That is the best option, actually. You can be spiritual, just stay hidden, don't expose, because otherwise you will not last long. But that is the best option, to be
but you
hidden.
can't.
Huh?
All right. You got to walk outside. You got to face the real world. And when you do that, your light will shine on everybody and everything will be drawn to it. All right. And at that point, everything's under attack on you, good and bad. Good people come to you and bad people come to you. But you will be hit by every aspect of that. I mean, I was confronted by the Hells Angels. I was confronted by a lot of different motorcycle gangs. Came up to me, circled me, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I was never hurt by a gang like that, never attacked. They all asked me to join them and stuff. I was in it. Everywhere I went.
I witnessed that in Japan when Yakuza's motorcycle drivers circled me in the middle of the road. It was funny and terrible experience at the same time. But they noticed a single person doing something and they don't like. They would like them all to be away from their eyes doing nothing. So, yeah. The more close you get to the truth, the more bad things will start to pile up and show them.
Here's the thing, people. The first step is writing it down. Writing it down, not putting it on a computer, writing it down on a piece of paper. All right. And actually think about what you're writing. And you'll always have that piece of paper to look at and think about it again. And when you start is, what do you really want out of life? What do you expect to retain before you die? What do you think is going to happen after you die? All right. Then on another sheet of paper, I want you to tell yourself what you think God is. Because that's when you're going to find out everything you think is wrong. Everything you want to believe is wrong. The concepts that you believe are wrong. The space program, everything has nothing to do with people, normal people. All right. The underground cities have nothing to do with normal people. Everything's based on rich people on this planet now. Putin's probably the richest person on the planet. He wants global warming. He said they're working with aliens. There's been a lot of things going on. He told Trump what to do, and Trump didn't do it yet. If Trump becomes president, we'll see what happens with that. But we're headed into a major disaster no matter what happens. And what the only aspect is, are you taking the right steps to move forward spiritually? All right. And when I say spiritually, I mean becoming more aware of what you are as a soul. If you went outside and a car smashed you and you died, what do you think it would be? How do you think you get from there to wherever you're going to go? Who's going to take you?
Basically, when that happens, people realize that whatever they were piling up in life through their work and money is now not coming with them. So the saddest part of this story is that they should take, let's say, self-realization on the first place to take them with them. Because when that comes, you can only take what you have in yourself. You cannot take anything else. So that's why it's useless to pile up money and just focus on things that you can get instead of things you can become.
If a person was spiritually aware and they were a multi-billionaire, they could save a lot of children, families, women, and things like that. If they had caring and compassion to the human life, which they don't. So when a person donates, what, 5 million, when Bezos donated 100 million to Hawaii, that's a good write-off for him. So he doesn't have to pay tax for the whole year. So it's a good thing for him. He feels good. Oh, I did something good, even though it's not what he really needed to do. Oprah donated $5 million, and she donated pillows, and she feels like she did something important. A lot of people in Hawaii now hate her. She's begging people to donate money. Poor people.
What kind of a person in the right mind would think in the crisis like this that someone needs a pillow? For crying out loud. What is that?
Otherwise, she'll put him on a diet. Say, well, now you could eat less and you could probably lose weight now. I mean, she was always into weight all her life because she went up, down, up, down, up, down. But again,
that only proves that she has no self-control. She's not enlightened. She's not enlightened or anything higher.
No. We know that.
Basic things that she cannot control.
She can control just about anything she wants, and she doesn't. Things that are important, she can control. She can just control how many children are starving on the streets. She can just control how many women are on the streets because they can't get a shelter. She can do a lot of beneficial things without going through all her money, and they don't. So, when they die and they're on their dying bed and they say, well, what am I going to do with all that money? Who's going to get it? And there's something worried about that. Instead of doing something you could see, I mean, imagine being able to go into a whole neighborhood and say, I'm going to give everybody a new car. When she gave away 100 cars, she didn't pay for one of them. All right. So, when you have respect, people want things. But see, the more money you have, the more things people want pertaining to money.
Yes.
So with people with all this money, like Gates, Musk, Bezos, Oprah, and now I just saw a kid. I wish I kept his name. He's a young boy. I mean, around 20. What he does, he makes $1 million every week. He buys $1 million worth of money, converts it to another country, and then converts it back and gets more money. $1 million worth. So he's making a fortune. He's becoming a multimillionaire, and he doesn't care about money. He gives it to any charity, any person that needs it. I said, I was going to say, send me a couple of dollars. I could use it. But again, he gives it away. It's not like, well, I got 10 million now I got 100 million, or I got 10 billion. He's not counting it. He doesn't care. And I wish I would have kept more on him, because, people like that aren't common. And if it was, the world would be different.
You know,
If people can't,
one of the best examples of how the rich people should be is probably Keanu Reeves. He really gave away so much money, and he doesn't show that he's rich. He's eating a sandwich somewhere in the park with homeless people. He does
no,
things no one
he's,
else.
I think he's cool. You're right. There's a
Yeah.
few people out there. But you take the other rich people in showbiz, like The Rock came to Hawaii and donated $5 million. All right, he grew up here and he was here for a long time, so he respects Hawaii.
Yeah.
But again, these people with a lot of money, that I just listen to the now. Show this is all pathetic, people. I'm really stuck in this. We're not getting too far down the road spiritually, but here's the thing. On the news 2 nights ago, they said, "Well, it's going to take over a year to even get half of the city built because they got to get rid of all the rebel." They said just like 9/11, we have about maybe three-quarters of as much rebel as they had. Well, sorry, people, are you that brain dead? New York City cleaned up the Trade Center within a month. Within 1 month, they cleaned that section out. There was major reasons for that. I'm not going to get into it, but they cleaned it. All right. So when they say it's going to take a year to get the rebel away, they're lying. All right. It's horrible. They're lying every which way about what happened in Lahaina. I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to lose my show. But again, the truth is out there.
They
And
just
they show it.
they just wanted to somehow make it seem like not so important, insignificant.
And
To say that it's gonna be needed a year, it's like, okay, we have time, no need to hurry. It's okay. It was not that bad.
no, it's not like that. It's like, oh, it's so much work. We got to get these people and move this and build that and take that and clean that up. But it's worse than that, because when they go into what happened, they just said they're going to actually put the alarm on anytime, the siren on anytime there's a disaster, which they didn't even turn on. But they're not going to go into the details about any of that, and they can't. All right, because they would expose what really happened. But when people come out and say these things about it, now the families was given ashes of somebody else, and she said he couldn't have been there. He was here when that happened. He wasn't there. This isn't his ashes. So when they say they're finding the right people, they're not going to report how many people died, how many people are missing, and all those words. Uh, like other countries, like even when the native people were boycotting the pipeline, it was on the news twice in 6 months. Well, there's a couple hundred people boycotting the pipeline, and they didn't show much. There was 2,500 people there every night, all winter long, rain, snow, whatever. while the government was hosing them down, spraying them, helicopters coming over them, sending dogs after them, and everything else. We didn't hear that. They, I'm not going to get into the native thing, but when we talk about people that care, George Washington, Jefferson, and those people involved with creating the Bill of Rights, the Constitution,
They were
they
mass
don't
murderers.
they don't care about people.
No,
Nobody ever did.
no, they were
Now,
mass murderers. They didn't care a shit about anything. They just wanted to create something for themselves, no matter how many bodies they go over it.
well, Thomas Jefferson did become president, but he did ride along the southern coast of the United States, killing every tribe he could. And when George Washington gave the orders to let one tribe survive, he gave the orders to kill two other ones. So it was a horrible thing. The Constitution was built on that, people. Then when they gave the man the right to carry a gun, it was to kill Native people. And people today are fighting to keep guns, and we should have guns. No, we shouldn't. Nobody in the United States should have a gun. There would be a lot less killings, people, really. And then again, more suicides are done with guns. More people kill themselves with a gun than kill other people. But again, if those guns weren't there, guess what? It would go down in numbers. But see, people that think they have free rights don't have free respect and free awareness of their actions. All right. Every action there is a reply to what you do, good or bad. And when people don't realize that they're doing bad things, guess what? They keep doing them. And when the Pope himself came out and said hell doesn't exist, what do you think that did to people that were Christians and bad?
Well, they
Oh,
have hands to do anything now. They
I
can,
can do whatever I want. I'm not going to go to hell. Oh, that's great. Uh, I told my cousin about reincarnation. He goes, "You mean I could go out and do bad things and come back and do it all over again?" I said, "Well, no, you'll be in a worse condition when you come back and be further down the road into hell than coming out of it." But people, we didn't get too far. I want to try to just direct it a little. Again, the mission here today is I want you to people to focus on where you can go. What is the next step? Listening to some speaker telling you how great you are? You're not great. You're a grain of sand on the beach, period. You can jump up and down, you can go flying, a wave comes and pulls you into the ocean. You're just a grain of sand in the ocean. So you don't change into like a butterfly. You don't come from a moth or any kind of thing that flies from a crawling insect. We're not like that. We don't change that way. Roaches can. They can grow wings and things and stuff and put them away when they want to. But we don't even have the ability that a roach has. They could live a year without eating. They got incredible abilities for such a horrible creature, in
well,
my book. Sorry.
they were tested to live 9 days without their head. They
Oh
actually
yeah. Well,
they actually didn't die of beheading, but of starvation.
well,
Can,
they have a chicken that lived a year and a half without his head,
I didn't hear about that one.
and it's real. They fed him with a dropper through the tube in his neck. Seriously,
No
and they
head.
showed it. He went around the world with it. But again, you know, we're doing worse things than that. We're creating cloning humans and animals together now. We have been for a while, a long time, but it's becoming legal in Japan and China. So they can take a bat and clone it with an animal and a human and create whatever they think they can create. But now I watched a special about Russia. They were trying to clone Bigfoot with humans and create better super beings and super strong soldiers. Hitler and Stalin were both involved with that. So it goes back a long time. So we talk about a human race. What's human mean to a person? You have two arms, two legs, two eyes, right? But again, in reality, to another alien race, what are you? Another alien race. We were brought here, people. We weren't hatched on planet Earth. There's 9 races here, people. We didn't all come from one race. And scientists are still trying to prove we all came from Africa and we all came from one race. We didn't. Again, on that, you want the facts, you want to believe the stories that they tell over and over. In the UFO world, Ancient Aliens been on 15 years, and they're still going on every week about pyramids. Why were they built? Oh, they were built by aliens, and blah, blah, blah. Whatever the reason was, it didn't help mankind, whatever life form they were, move forward. Never did. Wasn't beneficial to anybody, really, in the end. We could build a rock house, a stone house, or a wood house. You heard the story about the three pigs, right?
Yes,
They
yes.
each built a house, and the one house blew away, the second house blew away, and then the last one stood there. But again, so you stay there. You got a giant pyramid. How many people lived inside the pyramid? How many people was eating food during that time frame? All right. If you're in the middle of the desert, what were you growing and eating and all that? You weren't doing good, and you were a slave to build. So society wants to look at, well, this, that. The Egyptians followed aliens. They never found a real God. The Mayans never found a real God. The Aztecs never found a real God. Quetzalcoatl was a man that supposedly became God. See, Mexico has that belief and that truth. I deal with a Mexican guy around the corner. But again, the truth is, nobody knew what a God was. The word was gods in the beginning for different deities, and then it became aliens as gods. So there was never one God ever until Jesus came. And he explained there's one God. And nobody liked his idea either. And when he started teaching about it, they became afraid. And when he had abilities to heal and things like that, they they kind of like everything was bad. So people, if a person came out right now with super abilities, he'd be recognized as a god. Oh, Jesus came back, but they would kill him. Uh, Sadly, mankind has not grown enough to know the spiritual laws. I mean, Ten Commandments are pretty well organized to learn how to live on planet Earth, and very few people can follow them. But Moses didn't write them out. He was given insights to each one, and he only wrote parts of them down. I mean, about respect and things like that. And he never put the word love because love didn't exist, people. So if you don't come from love, which is what the number one perception on this planet is, we have to come from that. Can we do better? But if you don't know what love is, how can you ever find it? I mean, when you think you have it, well, she's my soulmate, he's my soulmate. Why? Because you think you just love each other and you're going to stay forever together forever? You know how long forever is? A very long, long, long time. So, people, we've kind of got into a lot of different things off path. The next show that we do, we're going to take one topic and stay with that one topic for the show. And the first topic is going to be doing a spiritual exercise, not an exercise physical, but a spiritual exercise and not just meditation. There's a big difference, and we're going to learn the difference and understand the difference between that. Because if you don't, you're not going to move forward. Going into emptiness doesn't fulfill you with truth. All right. The old saying, well, the bucket of glass, the chalice is just half full or half empty. It's half. It's just in the middle. It's nowhere. It's not full and it's not empty. I mean, why does it have to be one or another? Because it isn't. So it's in our mind what we have to make this decision. Well, that's right or that's wrong. And then I said, most people on this planet do not have the same opinion or awareness enough to know there is a difference between right and wrong. Things that hurt people can't be right. Anything that hurts people, kills people, is not right. To say it, well, that's just your opinion. No, it's not just my opinion. It's
No,
the
it's
law of the world. Hmm?
actually, if they were in pain, they would give you are right. But when they are not in pain, no, that's just your opinion.
Well, the same with, okay, when they say whistleblower, they're coming out with their truth. Truth to somebody that's not a whistleblower means you have a lot more people accept your idea. Einstein fed the world many lies. All right, people accepted it. Tesla fed the people so much more truth and actually gave them inventions. Einstein didn't do that. Tesla came out with inventions that changed the world mostly for the worse, not for the better. and they will end up destroying the planet. So again, he was working with aliens. He wasn't working with a god. I mean, most people don't believe in Bible stories, but Sodom and Gomorrah, he was told, and his wife didn't listen. Now Noah, but he did what he did, and he ended up having sex with his daughters to produce his family. But when you talk about Noah, an angel came to him and said, "This is what you have to do." He had the choice. He could have listened or not. And don't think that the whole time he was building the ark, people liked him. They didn't. They just thought he was a crazy fool. So people walking the spiritual path means you will probably be hated by more people than not. More people will look at you strangely. Well, you believe in God? Yeah, well, I do too. No, you don't. You believe in a false God. Oh, no, my God loves me, protects me, and they'll defend it, even though they never experienced it in any way. Well, I was in my meditation, I was prayer, and I felt its love. Really?
Yeah. That's
Why
great.
would you? Because you're praying to him. God, Jacques Cousteau did one of his last movies before he died. He showed the pollution around the planet, which was really scary. Then, pull up when he died, all right? And then he said, what he sees the future as, he shows you a spaceship, a circular spaceship, right? With a head in it. And he says, people don't want to do anything. And they're just going to use their mind, telling everything what to do, and this, that, and the other thing. And he's kind of really right about that. AI is very similar to that. All right. And when it happens, mankind will be taken out more and more. So we're moving deeper and deeper into a bad space. We got all these people saying how great it is and good it's going to be. The UFO world, which I've been in all my life, is so bad right now. Programming people to talk to aliens. I said, you know what would be nice? Learning how to talk to God. All right. Talk to an angel, even. Talk to something a little more higher level than an alien, because all they did was kill races that lived on this planet. Every race that was on this planet is gone. All right. I'm not saying one or two survivors here and there out of different things, but they killed the races off. And it wasn't God doing it, it was aliens or humans. When the humans came into the United States, they slaughtered everybody. I mean, in the countries. And the first slaves to come into the United States weren't black people. No, history is his story. The medicine woman I dealt with always said it's his story, meaning
His,
a guy writing a story. Not telling the truth, but just writing what he wants to write to make people believe something. And it was his limited view, if he even had a real view. When a person writes about dimensions, what do they really know about a dimension? Which dimensions did they experience? How many of them did they could possibly experience at their level? So everything people needs to be thought about, needs to be worked out, and they have to put attention on it because it just doesn't get better. It will never get better unless you try to make it better. You'll never move forward unless you put your attention on that. If you're happy where you are, I say be happy. Die happy. When you come back, you won't even know you were happy last lifetime.
I
So,
don't I don't think anyone is really happy, but I don't think
oh
that
no,
anyone
people are happy.
really
I,
knows.
in the conclusion, I learned. I mean, people have bad things going on, but many people are still happy. I mean, even just watching America's Got Talent, and you see a girl, 12 years old, singing, and you see the mother and father crying that the child's on stage doing something. I mean, the happiness of some families are incredible, but there's so few compared to so many that aren't.
But these happinesses are just shortly lived. They are for a year or something, and then something terrible happens because this planet is always done like this. And before you know, the happiness is shattered. They
Well,
separate, lose a
see,
person.
mob people in the mob go through their whole life doing bad things, okay?
Yeah,
But they're happy. They got money, they got a car, they got a wife, they got children. They're happy. They don't know bad. When you're in hell, you don't know what bad is because this is bad. Everything you eat is toxic. Everything you breathe is toxic. And all those kind of things. They don't want to know that. They say, well, aliens are going to come save us. Really? They
No.
never did. All through history, when they were fighting with the first race that was here to the races that are here now, uh, and people go, well, we were spiritual. We wanted, they needed something from us. What everything that has a body needs is one thing, only one thing in the physical reality.
Food. Food is the
Right.
one.
That's all they need. They don't need brains and houses, boats, machines, spaceships. None of that. If they didn't have food, nobody'd be able to do one thing because they wouldn't be here long. And right now, they're saying we're going to go into major food loss on the planet real soon, which could happen. The weather's screwing up crops and time, flooding. Crops and places are going to be deteriorating. So we could be out of food. And all we want to do is have more children. So there's so much responsibility on this planet that nobody's taken for their own lives, not everybody else's. Again, what you do with yourself, how you help and work, what your job is it a good job? I mean, most people are stuck in a job that they have to do because they can't get any other job. All right. I mean, working at Burger King, McDonald's, and all those kind of food chains. I mean, they're trying to raise the salary up. I mean, they could get a maximum of maybe they want to get it up to $15. A plumber comes in your house and they charge you $75 an hour. All right. So people think they're better than other people because of what they do. We're all the same. Native people never charged each other to do this and that and help them do that. Or we had no food, we give you some food. It wasn't like that. But mankind has grown into this place where ego is growing bigger and greater. I'm not going to go much further today because we're way in a different place. The energy of the moon is really affecting everybody right now. All right. But it was in a different place last night.
What
Pull up
did
your map, pull up your chart.
what did they call this moon? What kind of color?
I don't know if it was supposed to be a pink moon or whatever, but it was supposed to be super powerful and everything else. They call it harvest moon. They give it a lot of different names. But
Harvest.
I mean, you go out and go fishing, you harvest your crops because the winter's coming in, and there's just reasons why they give things names. At least there used to be. I mean, when you create something, you give it a name, and it has nothing to do with anything. But we're at a space where time is running out. To become aware, to become pay off your karma, and all these little things that you have to do. So if you want to do that and want to work harder to find out what that is and how to get to that space, join my show. Put your questions in the chat. Email me, hawksblood1@aol.com. I will help you. Again, I know people don't want the truth. People come and go. They hear one word they don't like and they'll leave. That's their choice. All right. But we have a short time on this planet. 125 years max is not a lot. And you're lucky if you live to 80 or 90. So people, think about it. Think about why you're really here. Why you got married 3 times. Did it help? Did it change? Did it make things better? You cheated on your wife, cheated on your husband. Did it help? Did it make things better? Do you feel better? Oh, I love him more. See, love isn't like that. Love doesn't change, ever. Love is. It always is. But if you can't experience it, you're not going to grow. People, Tommy Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. We're going to get into real deep stuff next time. And the most important stuff that we really have to do and practice and all that. But you need to get on the right step to start. If you can't create a reason in your life to do something, you're not going to do it. If you can't feel a beneficial thing coming from doing it, you're not going to do it. But see, it's not about making money. And I don't teach people how to make money. That's not going to be their answer. It never will be. People are told, you got to make money, you got to make more money, you got to make more money. But that's still not going to help you attain any spiritual growth. So, well, do you have any quick questions before we end?
I just think that people should be more aware of what they actually need instead of what they actually want. And once they do that, then they can start what we intend to do in the next show.
Well, Again, like I said, next time it will be about meditation
Yeah.
in detail. But till then, people, I keep friend me down on a site on YouTube. This way, you'll get the links anytime I do a show. But if you're not interested, that's your choice. Go back to your world, live in your life, become and think you're going to become greater or more spiritual by listening to somebody. All right. These people that tell you over and over it's about how great you are. You're not great. You're in hell. Why would you be great living in hell? You wouldn't be. Jesus didn't stay here long. He didn't need to anyway. And that's why he was willing to leave. So, people, it's time to really come to a new point in your life where you understand what's really going on and face it and deal with it. Don't hide from it. The truth may hurt, but it's not going to be better if you don't face it. It'll only get worse in time, especially when you die. And then you won't even know it. So everything would be just a waste. And you have multiple lifetimes over the hundreds. So think about that. All right. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for everybody that's going to listen to this in the future. Uh, please, I I can start off simple. I could get real complex, but I need to see how far people want to go, are ready to go, what they really want to deal with, because I don't want to feed nothing to nothingness. All right.
Sometimes people think that when you are speaking the truth, that you are like attacking, but it's not true. I think the analogy of this would be like if someone is in chains in his legs and arms, and you take a hammer and you start to break those chains off of them, they should be realizing that you're trying to free them, not attack them. So, but
Right.
they take it personally because the ego is so big and so strong. But once they will get over themselves, they will admit that they were in chains and that you actually did speak the truth to help them. So
Well,
hopefully this will happen one day that people will listen.
all right. Now I just want to go. Just say this to people out there: Sean David Morton. Go up online, pull up his name. So many bad things were said about him, but he was the greatest psychic on the planet for a long time, from '95 till the time they put him in prison. He did something that he didn't understand. It wasn't his fault either. He got blamed greatly for that. But outside of that, he helped many people make money, become sovereign citizens, and a lot of different things. And he got blamed for all that as well. But people, after seeing what went down, don't think about becoming a sovereign citizen. It's not going to help you in this world with our government. All right. It's the last place you should need to go or try to become. When you go against the system, you'll be attacked, period. And Jesus said, if you're living in a country and the laws are really bad, you have to live by them. But then it's your place to go out and change them. So if you feel something's wrong, do something about it. If you really feel something's bad, do something about it. My book hopefully will be out in about a month and a half, and it's for women only to help them get out of the hole and block program little block that they're stuck in.
You know,
And
the worst thing that you can imagine seeing is that in old days when people saw something wrong, they came, they intervened, they solved the problem. But in this age, what they do is pull out their phone and they're making a video out of someone who is a victim. Instead of helping them, they're making a video and say, "Look what happened. I will show this to the world." No, go there and prevent it. You
when
know,
these people watch somebody getting beat up, they're filming it. Nobody
they are
steps in though.
worse off than those who are beating. You know,
It's sad. It's really sad. I mean, I just saw a horrible one. But again, people, I always feel whatever comes to me is up to me to get involved with it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in front of me. So, even your dreams, you're going to have to, all these things are important. Learning to translate your dreams, understand them, why you have them, and what's the difference between a dream and a vision. And all those things are really critical right now. And you need to learn the difference between all of them. All right, people. Tommy Hawksblood here, closing out from Hawaii. Thank you for coming on. And we will be on in the next couple of days.
okay. Thank you
Going
for
to,
having me on your show.
no problem. One step forward. We're not going to take two steps backwards.
Okay.
Right. Most people want to walk backwards. No, we're going to move forward. Thank
Okay.
you to everybody. Thank you, people, for coming on, listening. Please send this link to other people. I do a lot of shows. I do a show every Tuesday with a co-host in about UFOs and aliens. So people, please stay in touch. Put messages in the chat room. Email me. I'm only here to help people. I'm not here to take away or change reality because we can't.